Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the City of Angels Camp City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 1st. Will you all please stand and join in our pledge to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first order of business is approval of the agenda. Is there any council person or members of staff or even members of the public that would like to request an amendment of the agenda?
I have a question on that. I have just a comment about the way the minutes were prepared. Is that considered, it's not necessary that the word change be made, but I'm...
Should we do that during the consent calendar?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Then I'll move that the agenda be approved as prepared.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Soban, second by Councilman Vihil to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item is staff updates. We've received a detailed staff report. Are there any questions or comments from members of the council on the report?
I have a...
Councilman Vihil first.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question regarding the bridge relinquishment item that's going to be coming up. And the question is what kind of reports will we have as far as structural engineering reports or conditions of the bridge or ongoing maintenance costs, that kind of thing? What can we expect as far as documentation other than the agreement?
You'll have a very large packet of information that talks about all those costs and anticipated costs moving forward.
Okay, thanks.
So we're just, again, we're fresh in the process and we want to continue in the negotiations, but ultimately the council will decide as to whether or not we agree upon the relinquishment cost.
Okay. Councilman Soban, you have a question?
Chief, I got a question with regard to the traffic control on the 2nd or 13th, the DUI checkpoint.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in there was one vehicle that was searched for suspected marijuana, but couldn't find any. I presume then the operator was released without any incident?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, the original operator was not able to drive the vehicle because he had a suspended driver's license, but his
Okay.
passenger was able to drive the
okay,
car away.
okay. In view of the marijuana issue that we've been discussing for several times with City Council, I have a hypothetical question, if that's permissible. Had there been marijuana in the vehicle and they weren't consuming or smoking it, what would the action have been?
Depending on the amount, if it was just personal use, it would have been a ticket, like an infraction type ticket, similar to like a speeding ticket.
Okay. Would the medical card come up in any way, shape, or form?
Yes, if they had a medical card, then there would have been no action taken.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
All right.
Any other council comments? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to council updates. And I'll begin on my left with Vice Mayor Follendorfer.
No comment.
Okay, Councilman Soba.
Okay, I had a pretty busy 2 weeks, most of it with UWPA. On the 22nd, we had a committee workshop on the Water Master Plan. On that same day in the afternoon, there was a LAFCO meeting, and at that meeting, the draft of the letter to Peter Maurer on the land use element comments was approved for submittal by LAFCO. In addition, they finally approved and appointed a public alternate member. His name is Rourke Weber of Weber Geo. so that's behind us now after several months of trying. On the 23rd, UWPA had a board meeting. The principal topics of that meeting were budget and the water master plan. And as I reported in the past, we, as a board, have approved the addition of an alternate member to the board, but it requires a change to the JPA agreement, and so they're looking forward to the city having that on an agenda in the near future. On the 24th, Utica Water and Power had distributed updated guides for emergency action plan, and there was a morning meeting up in Murphy's Firehouse where all of the people that could attend were given a briefing on the changes to the contents of the binder that we all received. And then on the 29th, a surprise, we had a drill, an EAP drill, and it was to exercise and practice the procedures that would be involved. The event was a hypothetical situation at the Murphy's After Bay where excessive rains would have caused the need to reduce an unusual amount of water into Angels Creek. And so there was a phone tree that we all had to use. I called Mary on her day off to have her do her role, and so on. And that was it.
Okay, great. Councilwoman Morris.
On February 18th, I attended the Museum Commission meeting. That's all I had.
Councilman Vehil.
Yes, on the 23rd, I also attended the UWPA, and the only thing I would have to add is that the UWPA board and staff are working very hard to determine as accurately as possible what the cost of water delivery to our city is, and how much can we realistically expect to be offset by power generation numbers. And it looks, the lack of rain and lack of water doesn't help, but also the fact that the power prices are so low, even in a good wet year, it's going to be tough to come up with revenues to cover the costs that we're so used to. So we need to prepare ourselves a little bit down the line. We don't have numbers yet, but we do need to prepare ourselves for the fact that water is going to become more expensive to our city, and we need to mitigate that as much as we can.
Okay, thank you. I've attended a couple of meetings during the time period since we last met. On the 24th of February, myself as a member of a special Calaveras Council of Governments committee to advocate for the funding of the Wagon Trail project, attended a meeting in Stockton with Caltrans District 10 Director to discuss additional funding that the COG received for the project and to strategize how to move forward from this point on to the California Transportation Committee as we seek additional funding from them. Later on that same evening, I attended a special COG meeting with the Highway 4 Wagon Trail project as the only agenda item where we approved funding modification based on additional funding that was made available through COG. On the 25th, I attended the executive committee of the Destination Angels Camp committee, and then earlier this morning, I participated in a second meeting with this Council of Government Special Committee on the Wagon Trail project. So that's all I have in terms of meeting announcements. I have one other announcement, in that, as you are aware, the city has been involved for several years in a lawsuit involving the city landscape lighting district, and in particular wetlands management. The lawsuit was filed by 4 plaintiffs, including DeFew et al. The city had prevailed in winning that lawsuit, and subsequent to that, the plaintiffs filed an appeal, and more recently, that appeal has been withdrawn, and so the case is closed, finalized, and over with. Is there anything else that needs to be added?
No, you said it
Okay.
perfectly.
Thank you. We're thankful we have that behind us. At this point, we'll move on to public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda. State law prohibits the city council from acting upon matters not listed on the agenda, and matters raised by the public will automatically be referred to staff or placed on the next meeting's agenda. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to a presentation by our planning director on the subject of Destination Angels Camp property database.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight is a continuation of our last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, regarding our business development opportunities. As the council is aware, as part of Destination Angels Camp, one of its goals is to help assist not only our residents, but our retail guys, our real estate people, to help find opportunities here within the city of Angels Camp. Before you is a work put together by Amy Augustine and Amber Collins, and has gone to great lengths of trying to making sure we keep it updated. In fact, it was just updated a couple weeks ago, keeping together our business opportunities, parcels for sale, for lease, for rent, all of those types of things. I'll kind of go through and play with the buttons a little bit, kind of show you what it's all about. But as you can see, we have it's ArcView, and it's up on our website under news announcements. It's also on the Destination Angels Camp website. And so people can go and view it and play with it. And if there are any questions, you can call the city or call Amber or Destination Angels Camp, and we can help guide people through it. So just kind of a quick tutorial, real quick. Of course, City of Angels Camp. What we've done is that we've tried to base this off a number of different systems, similar, so that people can find parcels. Find addresses. Are they for sale? Are they for rent? Are they for lease? As we look at also, well, let's just start from. Okay, these are all the colors for right now. I mean, these were ones that were put together. So all the parcels that have red, purple, the different colors are either for sale. The business is for sale, not necessarily the property. For sale or for lease, the building. Build to suit. For lease, for rent, is it available soon or not currently available? So as you can see throughout the map, we've got different colors to illustrate what is for sale, what is for lease, and that. Okay, so you can play with the legend to pick out those parcels. Okay, that's the layout. Also, you can change the base map. So there's different ways you can take a look at it. This is just a standard. This is what we call our default or that. But you can also take a look and add imagery to it. So you can blow up to the city. So we have aerials. And let me just. So as you can see, the colors. Okay. As you can see, you can do it either way. So at least gives you an idea of where these parcels are in comparison to the rest of the city. We can also add the imagery with labels, which helps out with adding streets. It's probably too close for that, but it'll add street names, parks, monuments within the city. Or the street layer. Streets, or it just shows the streets and outlines of just the parcels that we're talking about. Now, we're only doing this for our commercial, industrial type parcels. Residential parcels are not included in this at all. It's just for business opportunities, residential or commercial and industrial. So all of our commercial zone districts are outlined as well as our industrial district. Okay. So you have pretty much a pretty big menu on how you want to do your maps. Let's go to default, go back to the default. Next, overview. What I like to do is this measurement. You can actually measure. You can actually do measurements on this parcel. So if you want a certain area that you want to measure, hopefully I tried this afternoon. Hopefully it works. So if you want to measure an area. But basically what it allows you to do, is measure an area in square miles. Also allows you to do it in square feet. So it will allow you to, so it just gives you another tool, again, to take a look at areas that, if you want to know the size of the property. Details of the property. I'm just going to pick a property right here. And what comes up okay. So basically you can make it bigger or smaller, but it actually outlines for that parcel the acreage, the size, it's for sale, the price, who the agent is, who the agent is who's representing that parcel, the contact information, what the status is, whether it's vacant, the zoning, general plan, and of course, a PIP photo. So each one of the properties has all of that information right now. And then this program has the ability, if in the future we want to add additional layers or add additional different attributes of the property, we can go in and add those, and then when you click on it, they'll all pop up. So it kind of gives you, this is just kind of a general thing with all the parcels. You can also, whether or not you want to go downtown, you could again, photo, same type of thing, just who the agent is, the additional information regarding, these 11 acres. So much of it's commercial, the other part is single family and high density residential, so it kind of breaks it up. So it gives somebody who's really looking for a business opportunity a chance to find a parcel here in town. We can do that. And then building on this, if they have additional questions, again, they can come, they usually call the city or call Destination Angels Camp or even call a COG to help them get them to either Angels or Destination Angels Camp, just so that there's a way about that. So
I noticed that you have the representative real estate agency. Mm-hmm. Would you prefer people call the city or call the agency?
Well, the agent will have more about the property, but in most cases, a lot of people want to know, does it have utilities? Does it, is my use, what I want to use the property for? Okay. So those are the questions that you would call us for. Okay. But for any particulars of the property owner, yeah, you'd want to deal with it.
Is there a recommendation like that somewhere in this website to kind of direct people in that direction?
Well, yeah, the general website says if you want information, go to Destination Angels Camp,
right.
Okay.
And then they play quarterback and say who to call from there.
Good.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, on the Destination Angels Camp website.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, or is there anything that you want to try to?
I have one question. I guess the information or the database has been up in use for a couple of months now.
Well, actually, yeah, we've been updating it. We've probably been updating it about once a month right now, or once every couple of weeks. Destination Angels Camp hired Amy Augustine, and she goes out and updates information, puts it in our spreadsheet, and then we start clicking parcels on and off of what's for sale, what's for lease. So we've been doing a good job so far of being able to keep it up to date, at least within the last couple of weeks.
Have you gotten any feedback from users saying, this is a great tool, I didn't know this information was available, or you can
I've got a couple.
You can improve it, enhance it by this and that or whatever?
No, not so much improvements, but I have gotten, we haven't seen a lot of this around, not a lot of cities have this, or else you have to find, you have to go to 3 or 4 different places to get all of the information. They like the idea that they don't have to really talk to anybody, they can just go and get it, they appreciate that. We've had a couple of calls regarding the translation of what does this mean, and you might not have, is that parcel number 0060, so just smaller, minor questions like that. But for the most part, it's been pretty a positive tool so far.
I can just add that I have colleagues, obviously, in League of Cities that I've leaked this information to, and the comment I received was, wow, how did you guys do this? And we're a town of 50,000 and we don't have something like this. So we're on to something, and delivering is really the important factor, right? In delivering on projects. And but I also know from Destination Angels Camp, they've also received calls from this as well. So for the couple months it's been out, the vibe's out there and people are noticing.
Sure. Well, I would just say for everybody involved, including the staff people at the COG, what a great idea and what a job well done. You ought to take a great deal of pride in developing this.
Yeah, they've done a lot of hard work.
I have a question. Do you have any information about closed sales in that database? Or is it all active?
Normally what happens is that if a property's for sale, then or if a property's been sold, then we kind of click it off and it kind of goes away. So if you've looked at it, let's say 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks ago you've seen it, it's usually pretty much sold. It's usually either sold or taken off the market. That might be a tool that we might be able to add if it did sell, or if it's leased, or if it that kind of thing. That's something we can take a look at. For that, it's easy to add. At least in that month. Like if we update it, then 3 weeks later it sells, then we can update it again.
It'd be nice to tie sales so people that are looking can get an idea of what prices, what things are sold for, and what the ballpark is.
Yeah,
Closed sales should be pretty easy to follow. The public record as far as the sales price and the APN.
Yeah.
So sales sold on this date or what have you.
Right. Well, no. Yeah, but that's something we can add. We can, for example, on this parcel, if it sells, then we can see what it sells for, and then you get a better cost per acre. Yeah. Any other questions or anything, or? No. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
All right, thanks.
Any questions or comments from people in the audience? Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, there's 2 items. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 16th, and item B, adopting resolution 16-06, a resolution approving Feeney Park Foundation Bike Ride Mr. Frog's Wild Ride In. Councilman Soban, you had a question about item A.
More or less a comment, and I'm in the workshop report that was held on February 2nd. What triggered this question was in the opposition category, there was one person on Dogtown Road who is identified as being outside the city limits. Are there any others in that group that are really outside the city? And I'm thinking of Ed Brolio, because I've been to some fundraisers out at his place, and I don't think that's in the city.
I actually checked on him, was told that he pays water, so that's
Okay.
the only reason. No, I can check on the others
No,
too.
it's not.
And we cannot ask specifically what their address is, so all we can do is report what they tell us
I
and
know that.
request that they do, so.
Okay.
I did check on the people that had the last names that I had with the desk, just to see if they were paying water or not. That's how I
Okay.
could.
That's how you
If we had,
determine.
if they had an
Okay.
address and they did.
Okay. Had that little parenthetical not been there, I wouldn't even have thought about it, but that just kind of triggered,
Because I think he said that, I
If he
couldn't get his
did,
last name,
okay.
and he said, I'm outside the city limits,
Okay.
so that's why I put that there. On my
All right.
notes, I had it sitting there.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
I'm just assuming.
That's reasonable. And the other thing I had was, at the end of the meeting where we had, each of us had an opportunity to give our position, and then we decided to delay any decision, the closing statement is that we want to wait till regulations are issued by the state. When I said delay, I would be willing to delay. That was not my intent to wait that long. Okay, so I don't know if that's an important thing. Obviously, that's one thing that Derek made clear, that was one of our options. But when, at that point in the meeting, that wasn't my intent when I said I would be willing to delay.
Let me go back and look, just so I can put some wording in from what, because you did have some.
Well, I don't know that it's necessary to change the words, I just don't want to make my feelings known. That was it.
Any other comments or corrections with respect to item A, the minutes?
The minutes don't show that it was actually an action, it was just.
It was a
discussion.
non-action item.
It's
It was a
just,
workshop.
yeah, it's just
Yes,
discussion, so.
Okay, so with that, then, I think we can take one motion still to approve both items, since we're not amending or correcting the minutes.
So moved.
Okay,
Second?
moved by Councilman Behill, seconded by Vice Mayor Hollendorf. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay. And on our regular agenda item, we have one item, adoption of a resolution awarding the congestion mitigation air quality CMAC project contract. And Planning Director Dave Hannum will present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just kind of give the council some background. As you're aware, about at least over the last 6 years, we've had 2 call for projects. In the 3 years prior, we received about 31% of the money, or about $600,000, which we are in the process of spending on our Murphysboro Road project, to design and environmental for that project. In this last round, we received about 1.3 million, in which $1.18 million is for this project. And this project consists of taking this project from basically the beginning all the way up through what we call projects specifics in engineering, or PS&E, which is basically ready to list for construction, for 2 sidewalk segments and the first phase of the trail, Angels Creek Trail. So with that, the parameters of the sidewalk projects are from on the west side of State Route 49, from the intersection of 4 and 49, from there down to Stockton Road, all the way down to Stockton Road, and then the second segment is between Rabobank, where Rabobank ends, all the way down to Bragg Street, down to Church Street, where we're for downtown. So we have one link we can get down all the way to downtown. The link for the Angels Creek Trail is basically from Kirk Drive to State Route 49, or about the intersection, as well as including a park and ride facility, or kind of like a transfer facility for multiple for people with buses or bikes. There would be like a shower facilities there for people that can come and ride, but it also have like a park and ride kind of component as well. So it will be some added parking there. So we'll be in the process of designing that. As far as that, staff went out for proposals. There were about 60 requests. However, we only received 4, which actually is a good number for us. I mean, normally we're receiving 1, if maybe not, have to go out again. But this time we received 4 from the consulting firms of Castle Engineering, Drake Haglund, REY Engineering, and RRM Design Group. And based on the proposals and the interviews that were conducted, staff is recommending that the council adopt the resolution 1607 awarding the contract to Drake Haglund and Associates. They're out of Roseville. They did the best in terms of proposal. I mean, all 4 firms are quality firms. I mean, we worked with 3 of them We worked with Castle Engineering on a project, and RRM Design. Actually, those are the two out of the four we've worked with before. But Drake Hagland just had that edge, and we think that based on some of the complexities of some of the project areas, in terms of design and engineering and working with Caltrans, that their experience kind of rose to the top, and we think they're going to do a great job for us. They're also the consultant that is working on the wagon trail, so they do have continuity in Calaveras County. They've done a lot of work with District 10, who we're going to have to be dealing with. So again, it just gives us and they've been very responsive for the work that they've done. So staff is confident that they're going to do a great job. Their bid, basically, we've outlined the task, and their total cost came in at $1,025,066.30, which is about $75,000 less than what we had budgeted. So we'll be, if the council decides to award, then we'll be working with them, refine the scope of services and the deliverables, and then we'll be ready to go. So.
Any questions of Mr. Hannum?
No.
I have a couple.
Okay.
Even though the total amount of the consultant contract is $1 million, this is just for environmental design. This has no construction money in it whatsoever?
No.
Okay.
It goes all the way through what is called PS&E, which is right-of-way certifications and utility certifications. So there's a pretty extensive engineering. I mean, the two big components are the engineering and the environmental, and those are the two big components. that we
Right.
have, but no construction. However, if they come in under budget, the city does have the ability to roll approximately 20% of money over into construction, but that's if there's some cost savings in the contract that we might be able to roll over some money, we might be able to do that. So, but that's the only, but it's not slated for that. We're looking to use the 1 million or 1.18, depending, because there could be some issues in there that once they start reviewing all the utilities, and once they start reviewing all the stuff that they'll be using all, they could be using all of it, so.
In going forward into your staff report, the actual scope of services that was printed on the consultant's letterhead, at the very top, he's describing the final PS&E for both sidewalk and bike lane infill projects. Then it goes on to say segments 1 and 2. I take that segments 1 and 2 of the bike trail.
Those are the sidewalks. Segments 1 and 2 are the sidewalk projects, and segment 3 is the trail project.
Okay. What is the sentence? If selected, a detailed scope of work will be provided during negotiations. Does that mean that the bid may change during those negotiations?
No, it's just the deliverables, it's discussing the deliverables when they're, because in the contract, we talk about the tasks and that, but in terms of putting them on the schedule and making sure the schedule all works, no, there shouldn't be a change in that. There shouldn't be a change. Staff is not expecting any change to the final cost.
Okay. Under task 5, community outreach, there's a description of one-on-one property owner stakeholder meetings and a community open house.
Yeah.
Does this apply to the trail project only or for all 3 segments?
It'll be for all three. It'll be for all 3 segments.
Even though the curb gutter sidewalk projects are pretty standard, I mean, there's not a lot of room for
No, but
alternative designs.
we are dealing with Caltrans though, so as part of the CMAQ dollars and as part of these projects, we have to include a community outreach, and there could be some issues depending on where the right-of-way is, it goes, and where the utilities are, the adjustment utilities, that we might have to talk to property owners, and so.
And to clarify, if you look at the difference between segment 1 and 2 and segment 3, under that particular item, there's 2 community workshops under segment 2, which is the trail.
Right.
So if you were to flip a page and look at segment 3, which is specific to the trail, there's a lot more community outreach than there is just for sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't notice that. Well, that was going to be my next question. I think the piece that's of greatest interest to, at least to me personally, and perhaps the general public, is the trail project and the decisions leading up to the final alignment and the design of the trail and, you know, all the amenities.
Right.
Is the public and the council going to have plenty of opportunity to have input?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be putting together, you know, the stakeholders, and so, yeah, you will be at all the decision points where the council needs to come in to make a final decision. And also the planning commission, as it enters into the downtown, because there could be some issues with the downtown, that we will be bringing those to you for a final approval.
Okay, that was it. That's all I had. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution awarding the congestion mitigation air quality project contract.
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councilman Behill, seconded by Councilman Soban. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. And the final item is to review the upcoming March calendar.
Okay, tomorrow at 5 PM is the COG Board meeting at the Board of Supervisors Chambers. On March the 6th, that's a Sunday, at 1 o'clock at the museum, there's going to be a recognition of the Native Sons of the Golden West. I believe the mayor is going to be there, yeah.
Yes.
On March 10th is the Planning Commission meeting here at the Firehouse. On Sunday, the 13th, or Saturday night, is daylight savings, so clock's 1 hour forward. And then we're back at City Council at 6 o'clock on the 15th.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. Moved by Councilman Soban, seconded by Councilman Behill. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Good job.